Hey, what's up, everybody? Yo, it's your boy PC. This is the Truth in Sports podcast. Thank y'all for joining us. Today, I got my brother, one of my best friends, one of the realest cats out, my man Floyd Harrison. And today, we're going to be talking about waking up the dry bones. All right. So, I know this is the Truth in Sports podcast. I don't know how much sports we're going to talk. I know we get me and Floyd together, there's going to be some type of basketball analogy or something that you're going to get. But today we really want to just kind of get into the word and then not just really get into the word, but make it something that is understandable for where we're at today, something that's applicable, and then something that we can take and move with as it relates to how we're living, the decisions that we make, in our worldview. So I think it's quite relevant. Man, I've known Floyd for about 2 years out in Houston. Israelite brother, a true student and studier and researcher of the Word of God. And that's why I wanted to get him on here. That's something that I do. A lot of folks may not know that I study and research the word as much as I study and research basketball. So if you think I know basketball, I know the word as well. But yeah, man, can you want to start us off, man? Do you mind reading that verse for us from Ezekiel?
No, not at all. First off, appreciate you having me on, inviting me. I look forward to spending the time. So
for sure,
jump on it.
For sure.
All right, so I'm gonna read. Chapter 37. Starting at about. I'm gonna restart at 1, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Is that cool?
Yes, sir.
The land of the Lord. The land of the Lord was upon me and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord and set me down in the midst of the valley, which was full of bones, and caused me to pass by them round about. And behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. So you got this angel is calling Ezekiel up and he's showing him this valley, and it's full of bones, right? And they're all, of course, they're dead, right? Or sleep was another term for death. Right? And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord God, thou knowest. Again he said unto me, Prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord God unto these bones, Behold, I will cause breath to enter you, and ye shall live. And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. Did you want to keep going from there, or you want to leave it there? I'm going to skip to 9. I'm going to skip to 9.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, tell me what's up.
No, go ahead, man. We want to get the full word of God, man. So give it all to us.
Okay. And then said he unto me, Prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, thou son of man, and say unto the wind, Thus saith the Lord God, Come from the four winds, O breath, and breath upon these, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they stood up upon their feet, an exceeding great army, also known as the host of the Lord.
The host.
Yes, sir.
The host of the Lord. Awesome, man. So let's break that down. And I like, it's always good to read the whole chapter or section, so that you get a full picture. The Bible interpret itself. People will take scriptures out of context and try to add it to this, and they create their own, their own doctrine and theology. And they jumping through hoops and doing backflips trying to make stuff fit. So that was good. So let's talk about the bones that are dead. All right. It says the bones that are dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then it talks about those bones who are dead or asleep. The process of God taking those dead bones and bringing them back alive again. So can you exegete on that?
Okay, well, let's go to Jeremiah 50:17.
Okay.
First Kings 22:17.
Okay.
Because what does he
First.
call his people? Israel's also called sheep, right?
Yep.
So let's go to First Kings
What chapter?
22:17.
22:17.
First Kings 17. Yes, sir. And this is in several places, but I thought this would be the best place to
Yes.
go. And he said, I saw all Israel scattered upon the hills as sheep that have not a shepherd, just like
Mm,
us. And the Lord said, these have no master. Let
mm,
them return every man to his house.
mm,
So you see, this is Israel shattered, and just there's no shepherd. They're just out there, got nobody to protect them, right?
mm.
Now go to Jeremiah 50:17.
50:17.
Where these bones come from?
Mm,
All right. Verse 17. Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First, the king of Assyria hath devoured him, and last, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, hath broken his bones. Now, see, in this
mm,
verse, we got us, the sheep, and then
mm.
he's referring to one, but really two of the beasts in that statue, in that prophetic statue, right?
Yep. Yep.
And we know that this just continues to happen throughout the course of time through each one of those beasts. So
Mm,
he's talking about Israel being spiritually, not persecuted just physically. That applies too, especially in the context of Ezekiel 37.
yep.
Like if you read the whole verse, it actually, but we might talk about it. But we are we're dead, bro. We're just dry bones.
Right.
No flesh. We can't do nothing. We just lay it out. No
Mm,
power in us
mm,
for ourselves.
mm. I think I think when we talk about the dry bones and we talk about Israel um and being exiled, and the people scattered across the nations,
Mm-hmm.
and us to this day being under that spiritual, economical, and political control of Babylon. That's what our people has been
Mm-hmm.
have been under, um, and again, that is separate from the physical enslavement, the killings, the torture, all the
Correct.
things that
Yes,
happened
sir.
during the this transatlantic slave trade, as well as slavery here in the United States and other places as well. That we were beaten and but the Bible talks about that. I think if you go to Deuteronomy 28,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a popular verse, but it is when you really break it down. Let's see, and I'll start reading from verse 15, Deuteronomy 28:15.
Yes, sir.
And it says that if you do not obey the Lord your God by carefully following all his commands and statutes I'm giving today, all these curses will come and overtake you. Then they start to describe the curses. So you'll be cursed in the city and cursed in the country. Your basket and netting bowl will be cursed. Your offspring will be cursed. In your land's produce, the young of your herds, the newborn of your flocks, you will be cursed when you come in and cursed when you go out. The Lord will send against you curses, confusion, and rebuke it. Everything you do until you are destroyed and quickly perish. All right. becoming because of the witnesses of your actions in abandoning me. The Lord will make pestilence cling to you until they exterminate you from the land you are entering to possess. The Lord will inflict you with wasting, fever, inflammation, burning heat, drought, blight, and mildew, and they will pursue you until you perish. When you think about the health
Mhm.
of the descendants of Israel, especially here in what I call mystery Babylon. We understand that there's a Babylon, there was a Babylon, there's a Babylonian spiritual system, but
Mhm.
we also I and then I believe America I take is a offshoot. I believe America and the state of Israel are combined part of mystery Babylon.
Bro, there's actually, yeah, I totally agree. When you look at Rome, that's the religious part. When you look
Right.
at, you got that military part, and then you got
Yes.
Bank of London, which is really running everything and financing everything. And so when you put those three together, that's what's really moving the world right now.
Right. And you know, and what folks don't understand, and that they'll try to block you and ban you for saying is if you understand that this country was founded by Jews.
Mm-hmm.
It
Financial.
was it is the Spanish Inquisition, where the Jews was kicked out of Spain, happened the same year that America 1492.
Yes, sir.
And this is a people who took on the ideology of a chosen people,
Mm-hmm.
and decided that they needed to create their own, have their own land, and America became the new world for them, the new world order. So folks don't understand it, and they wait for a new world order. We've been in the new world order
Mm-hmm.
because America is the newest country in the history of this planet. And it wasn't until America became into power was the order of the world changed and transitioned.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna really hate me for this. And again, I don't believe, I've done a lot of research. In Hitler and the Nazis were definitely involved with a lot of occult
Mm-hmm.
behavior, but as it relates to the relationship with the Jews, they recognized the power and the issues that having Jews in their country was causing in the secret societies, and that was why they went after the Jews.
And
But
bro,
no one wants to talk about that fact, and they hide that under this Holocaust and anti-Semitism, because even Hitler was quoted as saying the Jews is black.
yep, yep.
You know what I mean? These world leaders or these people that come into power, they know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he's like, these cats they gotta go. And that directly goes into Zionism,
Yes, sir.
where the true religion of Israel is not Judaism, it's Zionism.
Mm-hmm.
And we think this it's a religious war. It's really Zionism versus Islam. That's what's really going on. It's a false religion versus a false religion, and they got to cancel themselves out, because once they cancel themselves out and Christianity has been destroyed from the inside out, then all that leaves is
Lost you. It's still going, but your video's gone. I'm sure he's going to come back in just a second. But if you, what he's saying is exactly on point. If you go out and check up,
hey, I got knocked up. Hey, yeah, they got them Zionists from StreamYard. It was like, bro, hold on, bro. Man, just the devil's the ruler of the airways, boy. I said that boy's saying too much. All right, I'm gonna stop for now. I'll get back to the dry bones so y'all don't cut me off, man. But yeah, yeah. what was we, man? We was in Deuteronomy
Yep.
28. We're at verse 23. It says the sky above you will be bronze and the earth beneath you iron. All right. That reminds me again of the statue from Daniel. It talks about the bronze and the iron, right? And to me that seems to say that you'll be controlled by these organizations. That the Lord will turn the rain of your land into falling dust that will descend on you from the sky until you're destroyed. The Lord will cause you to be defeated before your enemies. You will march out against them from one direction, but flee from them in 7 directions. You will be an object of horror to all the kingdoms of the earth. I'll leave it there. You know, black people are looked at in a negative light, no matter where you go. In fact, the Africans don't even respect the Black Americans.
Nope, and they'll tell you that to your face if you ask.
Oh, straight up to your face. I remember, you know, it was crazy. I was in Houston and I was working. I was coaching for this the AAU program. I think I think I had mentioned to you, and the program was ran by 2 Africans. And it was a husband and a wife. Their son played on the team. He was actually pretty good. He's about 6'6". He went to go play at a prep school. And the guy, he was just really, really nice and respectful. I mean, he was overly, you know, respectful. But his wife had no respect at all, period. Didn't have no respect for me. And you can see she treated the African parents and the kids much different than the American ones. And in fact, she would treat the white people and have more respect for the white people, right? Because of colonization than they have for the Black Americans.
Well, then, hey, we do that to ourselves.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. You know, so it shows the curses on us. It shows that we are spiritually dead as a people.
Yep.
And that we, you know, but the great thing is as you continue to read in that verse in Ezekiel, God talks about a restoration of those dry bones. The dry bones be getting life, dry bones becoming awake.
Yep.
And I believe that he said in his last days that we would remember who we are as a people. And I believe that has been going on progressively for some time. I think, you know, around the civil rights movement, as an offshoot, that's when a lot of the first Israelite groups started to come, kind of come out. And then now we see it becoming much more mainstream, being accepted. Now, with anything that man does, you know, there's a lot of issues with a lot of these Israelite groups. You know, whether it's the more boisterous, you know, subsection, or even a less boisterous subsection, because it's so hard to get out of the Babylonian system mindset. So we have to, again, God has to free us from the spiritual, economic, and political enslavement. And what I've noticed is it's hard to get out of that enslavement, because even when you come out partially, it's easy for you to go back into what you came from. So if you come out of Sunday church, denominational church, and then you may come to the truth. Is a lot of times people don't understand that the awakening is much more spiritual than physical. So what they do is they try to put the spiritual and focus on the physical in trait organizations.
What's that called? That's called Phariseeism, man.
It's right. That's exactly what it's called, the traditions of man. And so they try to box in that new revelation. man. They trying to put new wineskin in old wineskin, and it doesn't really work. However,
But you know, PK,
yeah,
is because it's like Voltron, or you know what, or just like five players come together on the team.
mm,
If nobody on that team has dealt with their defensive issues, it doesn't matter how much offense you play on defense, all they are going to suck. Because what you're doing is you're not just combining power, you're combining weaknesses. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm. Yeah,
So in a church, if all of y'all are coming from a Christianity type mindset, you put all y'all together, committees start forming, cliques start forming, all that kind of,
yeah,
you know what I'm
yep.
saying? People start going with that group think mentality.
Yep, yep, and it's hard to break free of that. But the great thing, the good thing about it is, just like Sunday church, gave us a baseline of our knowledge of God. I believe that these groups do give people a baseline knowledge to start to come out of this system and know who they are.
Yeah,
It's just a matter of,
right.
it's just kind of like church where you go in there and you get a baseline, but ultimately, as I got deeper, I had to kind of get away from that. And I think for some of these Israelite groups, it's the same thing. They serve a purpose, but I think as folks get deeper into that, they can kind of get what's the word, disillusioned, with that, so that's good. What do you got on that?
Well, I think that we've had the conversation before about the benefits of convocating, right? So you got to deal with that, the social dynamic part of everybody having their weaknesses or bringing even their sin or whatever it might be, just their way of thinking, bringing that to the table. But for those that are that maybe don't study as much, and for those who, well, basically like children, if you want the milk,
Right,
that's
right.
that's really where you need to be. And even
Yep.
study, like if you keep your pride in check, even as you study, it's hard to go off into other stuff because as you do that, there's only a few people talking about that, and you don't know if those people are on the right road. And so
Right,
the
right.
thing is, continuing to convocate keeps you anchored. And so there's a good and bad side to that.
Yeah, yeah. No, 100%. Yeah, and just finding, I think everybody kind of has their own path, with God, and I think, yeah, I think for those who are new into the faith or baby in the faith, I think all that's vitally important. Not only the teaching, but the convocation. And I think as you grow, if you're blessed enough to find other people who may have the understanding that you have, I think you're invested into those relationships, become important. But again, you have to get to a certain point of self accountability and be able to kind of hold yourself to the standard. And even if I'm not going to go and participate in a particular group, you still have to be deliberate about trying. You got to figure out a way to fellowship with some folks somehow, some way.
You go. That's exactly it. Because
Yeah.
that first Corinthians 13 comes into play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nobody's got it right. So we have to learn how to work together on body and convocate to work, do what we're supposed to do as far as getting the word out, because that's what matters.
What was great for me actually this weekend, I was part of a big conference. It was called Reclaim Your Confidence conference here in Las Vegas. And, and the great thing about it was all the speakers and participants were believers of God. Now, I don't know how many of them, most of them come out of Sunday church, but it was empowering to have that fellowship with them, talking about confidence, talking about overcoming stuff, talking about getting healthy, talking about rooting your identity and your confidence in God. And I got more out of that than I had got out of the Bible study, right? So sometimes again, there's levels because there's some places that you go. It's almost like We can talk about basketball. So we talk about the training game, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there's some cats you can go train with, and you're gonna get a good workout. You're gonna
Mm-hmm.
get some shots up, some ball handling, and some finishing.
Mm-hmm.
There's some trainers that you go with where they're gonna really break the game down to. They're gonna show you different reads. They're gonna really, it's more about, it's a deeper level of IQ to the game.
I
And
hear
I
you.
feel like there's different levels of fellowship. There's times where you just need to go get a workout. You just need to get to that word. You got to break down the scripture. You see what I'm saying? But then there's a time where, like we're having a more deeper conversation where yes, we're getting into the Texas, but then we're getting to what does that mean in society? What does that mean in the world? What does that mean in application to how we're living? And I think both things are important. As we're helping our people become free.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing some studying and researching about the subject prior to the podcast, and there you go. And I think it was I saw a lot of articles that happened that were written during the Black Lives Matter movement time. And a lot of what I read, and it was very interesting because it was a lot of different religious organizations and individuals writing commentary on it. There was a lot of what I would call evangelical churches, both black and white, writing on this. They even had some Jewish people. They had the Jews in there writing. They had a lot of different commentary. But what I felt was the Black Lives Matter was kind of a false awakening, and I felt that they were the focus was much more on what was happening in the physical and much less that was happening in the spiritual. And it was a movement that was based on protest and political action, right? And to me, if that's not a definition of traditions of man to enact change, I don't know what is. Hold on, I can't hear you. Hold on, let's see. Can't hear you. Hello? Can you hear me? Still can't hear you. Hold on. Yeah, we back. Sorry about that. A little technical difficulties. The devil be mad when you say too much on here. What's funny, we was talking earlier about the new regulations that StreamYard, like Facebook had about going live. You gotta have a certain number of subscribers, boop, 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 boop. And they're slowly but surely making it more difficult for this type of stuff to kind of be put out there.
Yep.
I think they even have a bill that was passed, an anti-Semitism bill, which if they were to enforce that, would essentially make basically the whole New Testament, illegal, because especially when it talks about the synagogue of Satan, and or even something as simple as saying that the Jews killed Yeshua. We understand that they didn't. It was actually the Romans that did it, but it was on their behest. And then, but yeah, so he was talking about the Black Lives Matter movement,
Yeah.
and go ahead.
And like, who was at the forefront of that? When you talk about being fleshly and it being about a lot of protests, there was one organization in particular that was at the forefront of that, and the one that's always on TV. And what do they kick? They're always kicking that fleshly Israel, right? And so, yeah, I mean, I totally agree. People are, but that's us though. We never had an identity, so it's no surprise that people get caught up in the identity,
Right,
and don't go a little further.
right. We've adopted the identity of Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
And we have allowed them, as much as we try to say that we haven't, we have allowed them to control who we are, how we think, both from an economical, spiritual, even and obviously from a political standpoint. And we look and see through the culture,
Mm-hmm.
and we talk about Black culture, and it's celebrated among some people, but I never understood why something that's so toxic and negative be celebrated. Now, I grew up listening to the music. I won't sit here and say I don't listen to the music now.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's some of the music I can't listen to. I ain't gonna listen to,
Yeah.
because it is just a little bit way
Too much.
over the edge. But the reality is even the stuff I do listen to is over the edge. And you have to be honest with yourself about it. And the thing is when it's about influence, right? And if you're not controlled by the Spirit of God, you're controlled by a different spirit, right? So I don't be hypocritical and criticize the stuff and listen to it. I'll listen to it, and I will still tell you
Mm-hmm.
that that I don't want my daughter listening to this stuff. I mean, when they put the parental advisory sticker on the CD back in the day, if that was not telling,
Yes.
that was like, you got to be over 21 to drink this alcohol. You got to be over 21 to buy these cigarettes. Like, you got to be over 21 to go to the dispensary and buy some weed. Like,
Another.
you got to be a mature adult to
Yep.
even handle listening to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That wasn't a game to be played with. That was like being caught red-handed, having something like that.
You see, listen, yeah, like the music was that uh possibly destructive. You had to have a advisory sticker on it. And today we so far removed because we don't got CDs no more, and all those things. But like that in itself should tell you
Mm-hmm.
that this stuff is this stuff can be dangerous.
Yes, sir.
This stuff can be intoxicating. Matter of
Mm-hmm.
fact, if you overdose on weed, I mean on alcohol, you can die.
Yes, sir.
Cigarette smoke leads to cancer and death. You see what I'm saying? So
Yep.
they only put advisory stickers on stuff that's dangerous. I don't think they got no advisory sticker on the marijuana, but that's a whole nother story. But uh, but you see what I'm saying? So
I do.
the and obviously as we in these last days as things are gonna get progressively wild, now we got artists like Sexy Red.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
it's rough.
And who's behind
Um,
that? You had a post the other day about all the people that backed them.
right. Yeah, all it's the Revelation 2:9 cats. They're the ones who control the world. They're the ones who funded Black Lives Matter.
Yep.
So it's because they will do anything to keep us from knowing who we truly are,
Mm-hmm.
and to keep us thinking that they are who we are.
Mm-hmm.
So
By
that's why, yep, go ahead.
No, I was just saying by attacking the family, because that's ultimately what that music does. It says in Ecclesiastes, like Ecclesiastes 7:5 or 7:8 or something like that, something 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 is better than the song of fools, right? And
Mm,
we know
mm,
we eat with things more than with just our mouth. We eat with our eyes, we eat with our ears. And we eat
mm.
that definitely has an impact on how we think. And if we're exposing that to our children, I mean, just that's you're just poisoning yourself and your family.
100%.
Yep.
And it has
Good.
it has no, it is between, and I don't want to just get on the women. Well, there's a lot of responsibility there, but even look at the music that been promoted for a long time as it relates to um looking at women as sexual objects.
Mm,
Um, those type of things. And so what we got today is we've got Sexy Red influenced women. I
mhm.
mean, I don't know. It wasn't. I was listening to something. It was crazy. It wasn't Sexy Red. I believe it was. Lotto,
Mm-hmm.
and it came on the little the little shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, the name of her song was Sunday Service. And the chorus was, I'm gonna pull up in 20 black Suburbans like Sunday Service.
Yeah.
But one of the verses she said is, I don't watch how I talk to no man. I'll hang up I'll cuss a nigga out and hang up the phone. You ain't my daddy. I'm Big Mama.
That is laughable. It's crazy.
Like, that's what she said. Like, she's
Yeah.
like, I don't watch my tone with no nigga. I hang up the phone on a nigga. I don't care. The nigga ain't my daddy. I'm Big
Bro,
Mama.
why is that even in a song? You know what I'm saying? Why is that the topic? Like, why is that even, you know what I'm saying? Like, why is that coming out the pen?
Man. And well, because the Bible says in Genesis, after in the Garden of Eden, after Adam and Eve sinned, God said that I will make it so that you will desire to be over your husband. So because Eve influenced Adam to sin and eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, because she allowed the devil to influence her first and then led man astray. One of the punishments that was, woman will always want to try to be over the man.
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
okay, but 70 years ago, 80 years ago, nobody would have been saying nothing crazy like that.
No, without a doubt, because that desire was pushed down by
Mm-hmm.
societal norms at that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you sure enough couldn't act like that in Bible times, because you couldn't survive without no man. So you couldn't, you had to, that wasn't gonna work you out there, in the fields and in the wilderness and all that. That shit ain't gonna work. So what happens is that when that type of stuff is put out there, all that does is further reinforce the flesh and sinful nature of women.
I agree.
And what it has created is a dynamic where before they worked hard to break the family structure.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can't even. I mean, so then they had this. They got the baby mama stuff and the baby daddies and all that and the welfare and all that to break it down. But I've read a lot of studies lately that younger people are actually not even having sex.
Yes, sir.
They're not even having relationships because the things have been so jacked up because a girl, I ain't gotta listen to no nigga. I cuss nigga out. Boop, boop, boop. That ain't no way no relationship gonna work. And if you do get a relationship with a woman like that, it's gonna be toxic. So the smart men are smart enough to men are so traumatized that you scared to even get involved with one of them. You see what I'm saying? So you can't. So now you can't even. And the ones that are stupid enough to do it, they get in toxic relationships, and then the expected end result of that is a child without both parents. So then you just reinforce that kind of cycle. But I think the new cycle, and I think the cycle that's probably the most disturbing for me is we went from too much sex to lack of sex, and lack of a sex to me speaks to lack of intimacy.
Yes, sir. It does.
You see what I'm saying? Because even when you're having too much sex, there still has to be some level of intimacy on somebody's part. Maybe if the dude's just out here knocking females down, the female may be feel like it's intimate.
Yeah.
But now it reminds me of the Bible saying the love of many will grow cold.
Yes, sir. That's what I was gonna say. Yes, sir. Exactly. And it's the timing, bro. It's no coincidence that. And what I thought you were gonna say is they're not just trying to break up the family. Now they're trying to even keep the family from even being.
Exactly. Yep. That's exactly where I was going.
And I don't think it's any coincidence that it's happening when the dry bones are waking up.
Yep. And it's crazy. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll take it even a step further. Even within the community, we'll call it a community of dry bones waking up, you still see a lot of the same dysfunction.
That's true. That's true.
You see what I'm saying? Because people are coming to knowledge and to the truth, but those same trauma reactions, dysfunction are still there because you can come in the truth, but from my experience, that these women that come to the truth, claim Israel, they done changed their names Tasha, ye Israel, like all that, whatever, all that's cute, and you wearing, you got your head covered, cool, like all that, I get it, but you still can't build nothing with them.
Yeah.
It's jacked up. And then they'll say, and then I see a lot of, not just get on the women, there's a lot of men when they're without power.
Yeah.
I see a lot of men in a lot of these groups, and you don't never see their wives.
Yeah, that's true.
And it says, well, where's the power in your own household?
Yep.
So, you know what I'm saying? Again, and that's not a criticism, that's just fact. And that's and that's something I saw. And because I like, well, shoot, I guess I had a utopic ideal.
Mm-hmm.
I said, man, if you into the truth, you into the faith, you following the commandments, you following the rules, everything should just move smooth.
No, it takes time.
No, yeah.
It takes time. I think it takes a lot of ups and downs, a lot of failures on both sides, a lot of wanting to live. I think what being in the truth does is it keeps y'all together. Whereas people who aren't, people don't know that, hey, you can't leave. You don't have to try and work it out. You don't have to go to that time when you're not talking to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. But it's funny. And again, it's something that is one of the curses. That's upon us. And it's I saw a brother had wrote one time on one of these little Israel groups, and he said you to expect to be able to find women, or not even women, but to try to recreate the ideal godly relationship in Babylon is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And you almost want to wait. It's like, do you need to wait for the to the millennium reign? And it's crazy. I was watching Truth Unedited the other day, and he was talking about the second Exodus, and he made a comment about those who are looking for a wife or a husband, and saying, you may not even find them until you're in the wilderness.
Facts. I believe that. That makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's just it's just hard. And a lot of women come in the truth. And again, there's no disrespect or but they got a whole bunch of kids.
No, I hear you.
And a lot of times, and they don't understand, and obviously they didn't understand it at the time when they was out there having those kids. It almost disqualifies you. And again, I'm not saying there's not men that won't take a woman that got kids and take them in and do all those things. I'm not saying that's wrong or anything that's wrong with that. But a lot of times you almost disqualify yourself because you're almost like the woman at the well. And the reason that woman was at the well, we go into the backstory, she was at the well at that time because she was basically almost outcast from society. So when everybody else was going to the well, she couldn't go. Because she got one husband, this husband, this and that. So that was a perfect opportunity for her to go, and she's gonna be by herself. And then God obviously, showed up and did what he did. So there's that piece. And it just makes things very difficult because a lot of righteous brothers, they ain't trying to deal with you and baby daddy number one and baby daddy number two, or even I'm not even trying to be funny, because even if baby daddy 1, 2, or 3 are not even in the picture, you're still dealing with the trauma and after effects of baby daddy 1, 2, and 3 on you, and then possibly them kids that you're gonna try to take in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But I think the thing is, to be honest with you, I think the way that I want to put it is, in order to get to that point in society now, where you get to that point where you think you can marry somebody, I think you have to have more grace and mercy than even the people that are married. You know what I mean? And I think there has to be a point where you just love a person for who they are. Yeah, they might get on your nerves, but I don't know. Maybe I'm taking it the wrong way.
Um,
Because really, as a man, all you really want is respect and peace in your home,
yeah,
intimacy.
yeah.
So, uh,
No, I think I think you're right. Um, I think that's the ideal. Um, I think the line that you have to the line that you have to toe, and it's unfortunate that we live in a world that doesn't really respond well to grace and mercy. So
I
you run the risk of being ran over
I hear you.
with too much grace and mercy. So it's funny. I was talking to a young lady, and I met her, pretty young lady, and her spirit's really good. She came out of a bad relationship, and is not fully healed from that, right? And my thing is, well, if you ain't healed for that, I don't really have time, because I'm not trying to. The reality is, people that's hurt people, and a lot of times it's not intentional.
I hear you.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you're just hurt. Your responses and the way you look at things um, make it hard for you to be able to properly give people what they need, in order for, it's got to be a two-way, or it should be a two-way street. So
Mm-hmm.
someone said to me, it was another girl that I'm actually friends with, and she was like, well, you got to have a lot of grace. She's been through this, and that's why she wants to. She doesn't really want to. And I took that in, and and like that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I can have empathy and understanding and sympathy for that,
Yeah.
but also I'm not going to involve myself in that.
You got to twist.
It,
Want to involve yourself in that for the rest of your life.
so the other side of that. So the other question is we can go back to what you said, is when you're when you're in Babylon, and you're trying to find a mate, and people are so jacked up. You say, well, do you have grace and mercy and risk getting ran over, or you just be by yourself?
It's
And
called.
and if that's the position that you're going to take, you're just going to be by yourself forever. Um,
Because it
so
comes to vulnerability.
so it's a very tricky situation. And again, I think it goes back to what we were saying originally, and that's what that is a byproduct of a system that doesn't even want these relationships and these possible families to come about.
Mm-hmm.
um I think as we're waking up these dry bones, I guess to get back to what I was saying is is all the ways of trying to do things within the physical. um you find failure in all, whether it's individual, spiritual, economic. You put your faith into Obama, you put your faith into black leaders, you put your faith into political establishments, you even put your faith in your own self.
Mm-hmm.
All those things fail. And you got, and to really have the dry bones woken up, both from a spiritual, corporate, and as a spiritual individual, you have to just let God to rebuild you,
Mm-hmm.
rebuild community, and understand that ain't none of it gonna be a finished product,
Yep.
within yourselves or even within corporately, until God comes back and He will teach us the right way.
Yes, sir.
He'll teach us. Everybody, they got all the different people that go back and forth with the different names: Yeshua, y'all I mean they be Alish Alawusha,
Yep.
Alish. I mean, boy, they be going crazy. And it is, I'll be trying to, research stuff on YouTube. So
Mhm.
I'll click on stuff, and the minute they get into, they was like greetings for in the name of Yahshua Halashah Shai and who bro, it makes me hard to continue to listen. And I had to stop and I actually had to listen to some brothers the other night on a subject because I felt like they was giving good information. But they started off with the greetings from Halashuba and from the missing 12 tribes I said then the 10 apostles, 12 elders, I said, hey, the 14 stones. I said, bro, bro, we doing a lot right here, bro. I said, you still got to come back and make it plain.
Yep.
Yeah, because I said, all I know is, I said, when Moses asked God what name to tell Pharaoh, he said, tell him I am.
That's it.
And we can do a whole breakdown of what that is. At the conference, man, this brother, he broke down that I am in a way that really made me think. And that's something, but they said, what's the name? And it said, tell him I am.
Mm-hmm.
So we get caught up in a lot of things. And I believe there's a Bible verse that says that when he comes back and he gathers his people, he will give them a new name and he'll be called by a new name.
Not even he knows right now.
You see what I'm saying? That's what it says. So we got to while we're waking up and we're being alive, we got to be centered into allowing God to lead us.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that there's a lot, there's folks that will call you to go back to Africa, to call you to do this. And I actually, based on my research, and we talked about it the other day, I do believe that the kingdom of Judah was in Africa. I do believe Israel was in Africa. But I believe before we start jumping on the Marcus Garvey ship and going back to the motherland, we have to allow God to regather us. And that's one Bible prophecy that I've done a lot of research in that I haven't nobody got a handle on. And I said they don't talk. Even if folks can talk about a lot of stuff with a lot of confidence and a lot of accuracy, and I like to talk with a lot of confidence and accuracy based on our study. But I have not been able to find an answer, and I ain't find nobody that got an answer. In fact, even the folks who I will listen to and follow and believe got it right, they'll tell you they ain't got that one.
Well, bro,
They ain't got that one.
I'm not at all tooting my horn, but it might just be a timely thing. God has. That's what I've been studying, bro, and that's one of the next lessons I'm doing is the wilderness.
Yeah. But I've seen a lot of cats that I feel like are on the right path going into that.
Yeah.
And even when I had mentioned to you the thing about Israel and Judah really being in Africa and having that conversation, and then I'm watching Truth Unedited, and he commented on it. And so I believe there's a corporate message to directing folks into these areals. And so that's where I get my confirmation from. Because again, none of these ideas were actually new to me. Those are ideas that I heard. When I heard it, I was like, yeah, okay. But I just wasn't felt called to dig deeper. And I feel like that's where we're at. So that means that I believe there's gonna be a lot of stuff happening before the end of this year. Prophetically in the world. And while they, that's it's so funny. I was telling someone the whole world is looking at Israel and what's going on in the wars and all that's going on there. And that to me, that's just wars and rumors of wars, because that's not the true land. So if they got you looking at something that's false, they got, I feel like the powers that be have their own prophecy that they're trying to fulfill. And they're trying to fulfill that prophecy to try to get folks distracted from true prophecy. But I believe the false prophecy is also part of the real prophecy. If you can understand that, if that doesn't go over people's heads too much, things can be all the same and be something different all at the same time. And you got to have a kind of a real deeper spiritual understanding to understand, but also be okay with that dynamic. Because when you can say when something is that isn't but is, what that does is it takes away the ability for someone to try to take ownership of it and try to say that it's their own understanding or their own revelation. You know what I'm saying? Like I can say, hey man, the Israelite groups can give you a lot of truth, but still be wrong in the same thing. But a lot of people can't conceptualize that.
No, I hear you.
Everything got to be either right or either completely right or completely wrong. Or I can't believe none of it.
Yeah, and that's not.
You know, I believe even in the King James version, I believe a lot of the Bible been tampered with. I don't believe there's no particular version that's being printed by any particular company out to the masses has not been messed around with. However, I still believe that you can open up your Bible and still get to the truth. If you study yourself to be approved. I believe that you can get past them because it's funny. When you was reading for your Bible version and the Bible that I got, even we was reading those verses, they done changed some of the stuff. And they was talking, and instead of saying God's people not needing a shepherd or being sheep, they transferred it into lamb.
Yep.
See what I'm saying?
Yep.
So a lot of this stuff is subtle, even in terms of the names of certain towns and areas in the Bible. And again, that's where I believe that's where a lot of the idea of Israel being in Palestine comes from, simply because they've subtly within the word, they've changed certain words of certain places for you not to catch on to what's really going on.
Yeah.
But that don't mean that we throw out the Bible. That doesn't mean that we say the Bible can't be trusted.
Correct.
Doesn't mean that we can't say it's not the word of God. So people have to. I feel like not only is it spiritual, economic, political enslavement, they got to free themselves from religious enslavement.
Definitely.
And if you're able to free yourself from that from that religious enslavement, it's easy to have a better understanding. Because it's a religious ideology that things have to be this way and can't be questioned. And you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, people gotta study to show yourself approved.
So that's and I think like I said, as people start to recognize and realize who they are, I believe trying to come into the understanding of where Israel really is. Because I mean, if you go back to the 1970s map and you look at the kingdom of Judah, it's literally on the map.
Yeah, it's there.
It clearly says.
Yeah, it's there. And the people there that live there, like you talk to somebody who's Igbo, they know they're Jews. So it's like it's only us that doesn't know. But I take this perspective of it as kind of like the flat earth thing. Everything tells me that the earth is flat, but do I know 100%? Absolutely not.
Of course.
I mean, so and you know what I'm saying, I have no way of knowing it. So I just you just do the best you can with what you got, bro. Because I don't.
Nah, that's it. Yeah.
Because I think that goes back to the whole 1 Corinthians 13 again. We know in part, and we're not gonna know what it is we're supposed to know until we get to the wilderness, just like it was first Exodus. Yep.
And that's it, man. And but no, man, that's good, man. I think we touched on this subject pretty good. And I think the next part of where we go with God is a mystery. And it takes a lot of faith. And again, that faith is going to be tested. And we have to just continue to show ourselves rightly approved and continue to walk under that mark of God and not of this system, and constantly trying to renew our minds, from the systems and ideas of the world. And even when we feel like we broke free, we have to constantly continue to check ourselves to make sure that we're not, what's the word they use? We're not tarnished you know, by the system.
Yeah.
What you got in closing?
You know, I think it's Daniel 12. It talks about how some of those things that were shown to Daniel were going to be revealed in the end times. And I think a lot of people, period, have to be humble and put aside the pride and realize that maybe some of their understanding of prophetic events was not right. And
Right.
because those things were supposed to be given to us at that time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. 100%. There's so much, even today, that if we were living 50 years ago, that we understand today, that just wouldn't be as clear. So, man, humility is always good, man, and always being open to learn new things and challenge yourself, challenge your own thinking. But no, I mean, this was a great podcast. I gotta jump off and get ready for some basketball, but we're gonna, I thank everybody for tuning in. We'll have this on all platforms. Go ahead.
I just want to say, man, you
Yeah.
said humility is the glue, buddy.
Humility. Yeah.
So we're talking
Yeah.
about coming together, everybody waking up and dealing with those social issues and the trauma and all that kind of stuff. That humility is what keeps people together.
100%.
Yes, sir.
100%. 100%. That'll be the word for today. Humility. But no, thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you, Floyd, for jumping on here with me. We'll do it again. I think these type of things are important, very important, and we'll make sure we'll have this on all our social media platforms: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I got Twitter. I got so much going on. I don't even know, but it's gonna be on everything I got going.